there, Stampers. Today we're going to be working with the Flowering Tulips stamp sets as well as the coordinating dies that you get if you order the bundle. You do save 10% if you order the bundle, so that would be the way to go. I would suggest to save some money. This, of course, is part of the January to June mini catalog. You will see it on page 15. Such a beautiful stamp set, many different samples here. This is the particular bundle we're going to be working with, the Flowering Tulips as well as the matching dies. And I will show you two cards in this video. The first one will be this one. I'm going to be showing you how to use the images, the two-step stamping method to create beautiful images for your cards. And then the second part, I will be showing you how to actually use the dies that come in the set, these dies here, to create 3D flowers for your cards. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to work with this beautiful stamp set. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do to our white layer is, this measures, by the way, 5 1/4 by 4 inches. The first thing we're going to do is add some of a background design. I don't know if you can see that. See right there, and also right there. It's a little bit of a design in the Fresh Freesia ink. That is done using the new masks, again, from the mini catalog, called Butterflies and Flowers. And it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 masks. And these masks kind of work together. These ones here, they're layering masks, so I'll show you that on another video. But for the sake of this particular card, we are going to be using this mask. So I am just selectively adding some Fresh Freesia ink on this black piece of cardstock. And you just add it where you want. As you can tell, I have a little bit on the side there. I have some all along here. So the way I do this is very not planned and very lackadaisy. Some people like to actually tape their mask down so it doesn't move. As you can see, it will move. I don't bother with that because, you know, it's a handmade card, and if there's a bit of a variation or it moves a little bit, I'm not too concerned. So pick up your ink using your blending brush and then just very lightly add ink. So I'm holding the mask down with one hand and using the blending brush to add ink. So you can see a little bit of a design there. And then I had a little bit up here as well. Again, no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I feel I want to do and add color where I feel the card's going to need it. So every time I do this, every single card I make is different because I'm really just going on the fly here. So I think I had a little bit on here. As you can see, this card that I'm showing you here is already looking a little bit different than the one that I'm copying because the mask, the ink, is so much darker on this that I'm doing now than this here, which is the one that I did earlier to show you. You can see there's a difference, but that's how I do the masks. And if you are a subscriber to my channel, you also know that I like to add ink so that my edges are defined. By that I mean, can you see how the edges of my white layer are more defined because there's some ink there? So let's go ahead and just add ink all around. And then this is now ready to stamp on. So now we're going to go ahead and use the Stamparatus to stamp our tulips. Okay, so now we're going to stamp our images onto our white. This is what we are going to be doing. And every time there's a stamp set that is a two-step stamping set, as is the Flowering Tulips, and by that I mean there's really no coloring involved on your part because the two images that come in the set do all the work for you. So you will stamp one in a darker color and another one in a lighter color over top of each other, and the lighter color will create the coloring for you. Every time there is a two-step stamping set that I want to use, I use my Stamparatus, and I'll tell you why in a minute, because it makes it so much easier to stamp the images over top of each other, and you can make a lot of them all at once. So ordinarily what I would do, like the Stamparatus will come with this foam mat, and then you can order some grid paper that's the exact size as this Stamparatus. The grid paper will fit exactly on here. I have run out and my new grid paper has not arrived yet. So let's just pretend it's there, even if it's not. So what I like to do is the grid paper has lines, and I will put my paper down that I'm stamping on following one of the lines. In this case, because we don't have that, I'm just aligning it to the corner here. So I want to make sure that it's aligned like that. And then what I do is then I will add the magnets. These magnets, of course, come with the Stamparatus when you buy it. Mine's already broken. They do break, but the nice thing about the fact that it's broken is now I have 3 magnets. So it doesn't really matter. I don't care that it broke. I have 3 magnets. So the 2 images that we're going to use to create the larger tulip are these 2. This one here is the outline image. I will be stamping that in a darker color of the fresh freesia, and then the image that's not the outline, I will be stamping that in a lighter color. So what you do is you take out both. You can see I've used it to stamp Melon Mambo tulip earlier. So what you do is on your cardstock here, you are going to put the outline. I like to do the outline first, and the outline is this one where you want it to be stamped. So let's just say there again, handmade stamp. It's not going to look exactly like the one you did before. And then you just bring your glass down, pick it up, your plate down rather, sorry. And then I stamp with fresh freesia. And what I do, because I want this to be darker now because it's my outline, so I will go ahead and ink it and stamp on my paper. And I just use, one thing that you can use is, this is a dry erase eraser that you can buy that comes with your whiteboard. And I just use that to rub over top. And then I want to add a little bit more ink because I do want this to be a darker color. So I'm just layering ink here now. See now how that's a little bit darker. And then from then I will take my well, how should I say? It's not the outline stamp. It's the stamp that we'll use to add color to your image. And it's much easier to align that way. So you will be stamping it where you want it to go. And then your Stamparatus comes with 2 plates. So now you just use the second plate. Pick that up. And then now you're going to stamp it, but much lighter, because this is not your outline stamp. So what I do is I will go ahead and ink it. And then I'll grab my scrap paper. I had it here. Here it is. And then just take out a little bit of that ink. So there's my stamped image there, or my inked up image. I'm just gonna take off some of that ink before I stamp over top of that. And can you see how it's now colored it in? And what I mean by, you can use your Stamparatus not only to align your images, but to create a lot of cards all at the same time. Because what I would do now, don't forget I am supposed to have my grid paper on here, so I would just take this out, put a second sheet the exact same size, and then just stamp the one image, and then stamp the other image, and then I just keep going until I have as many cards as I want. So now we're going to go ahead and stamp the next image here, because we have 3 flowers all together in this card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you can see how it's done. So now we're going to stamp the rest of the flowers.
the large tulip again. We're going to stamp in fresh freesia ink, the outline stamp, and then I stamp it a second time so it's darker. And in the inside, you align the second stamp on top of your outline image there. Ink it up with fresh freesia and take off some of that ink with scrap so that it's lighter when you do the image on your white cardstock. The middle flower is more like a bud. It's a little tulip bud, so the tulip hasn't opened yet. I did the outline in Mango Melody ink, and I stamp it again twice, so it's darker. And then for the inside, the second stamp, I've chosen to use lighter ink, and I've used Daffodil Delight to create my 3 flowers.
So now our card is done. We're going to add the stems to our tulip flowers here. And this little pad here, that's right for my Stamparatus. I take it out and I like to stamp on it because I like to stamp on a surface that isn't so hard as this. It gives me a clearer image when I stamp. So the images we're going to need are the stem, and then again the 2 leaves, again 2-step stamping. For the stem and the leaves, I'm not going to bother to use the Stamparatus because it's fairly easy to stamp these. Whereas the tulips, you need to be a little bit more exact. The leaves are a bit more forgiving. I can manage to get a pretty good result using the blocks. Otherwise, I'd likely use the Stamparatus for it as well. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you that, and let's just put some paper here, that for the leaves and the stems, I like to combine 2 colors of ink. I just like the color better, and the 2 colors that I use are Pear Pizzazz and Granny Apple Green. Kind of get a combination, so a mix of both. So let's do the leaves first. So what I do is I just will randomly pick up ink, a little bit of Pear Pizzazz, a little bit of Granny Apple Green. I stamp off just to see if I'm happy with it, so I am. So this is what I mean by it's much easier for me to stamp the stems. I feel like I can kind of judge where to stamp them. So there's 1 stem, and then let's do, maybe we'll do it the other way. No, let's do it this way. So there's another stem, and then of course let's do this one. Okay, so now we're going to do the leaves. So the leaves, again, have an outline stamp, and the second stamp is you stamp within that outline. So again, it's easier for me, I find, to figure out how I want to stamp this. So 1 will go there, and then maybe just 1 here, like that. And then let's do a little bit, a tiny one heading out the other way, like that. So that's what the leaves look like. And then we're going to add the insides of our leaves. You can just kind of see where they are, just to create a bit of a fill-in from the outline. And then this one goes like this. And there we have our leaves. Very easy. So the last step, of course, that I'm going to show you is just the greeting. And then we're going to finish up our card. One thing I forgot to show you guys is I need to stamp the green in the center of the tulip. So it's this stamp here. We're going to stamp that in Granny Apple Green in the center of our flowers. There we go. And then to stamp the greeting, I like to use my Stamparatus again. That way I can stamp it as dark as I want. I'm going to stamp it in fresh freesia. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure my layer stays put by putting my magnets on there. And then the greeting is "No one deserves happier birthday than you," which I'm going to stamp right around there. Make sure it's straight. And there we go. And then I'm going to pick that up with my plate. And then just go ahead and take my fresh freesia ink and ink it up. Use my dry eraser to add pressure. And if I wanted it a little bit darker than that, which I do, I'm just going to do a second layer. So what I'm doing is layering ink over top of each other now. And I like that. It's more clear and you can see it much better. And I'm going to go ahead now and glue that to my card. And we're going to add some ribbon. Before we do that, we're going to add some ribbon to do a little bit of a design here. So now it's time to go ahead and glue this onto our base card, which is fresh freesia, but I added a little bit of ribbon. Now this ribbon here is no longer available. I do love it though. It is from the mini catalog from June to December, and it's the glittered organza ribbon. So the way I like to add my ribbon is just I like to go ahead and cut it the length that I need. And then I'm going to just use ordinary tape to glue that to the back of my card. So I'm just going to pick it up and go ahead and glue it to the back. Not glue, tape to the back. And then run it across. I've always done my ribbon this way. I find it's easier. It saves me some ribbon, and it doesn't leave bulk in the back of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and add my glue to the back of the card here. And we can glue that to our base card. And then all we need to do after that is add a little bow, or in this case, I'm just doing a knot. So taking my ribbon, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it around, and I'm just doing a quick knot like that. And we're going to go ahead and cut it to the length that we want. And there you have a very quick and easy card using the Flowering Tulips two-step set. Now I'm going to show you the difference that I decided I would do, so you would decide what you want to do. On here I added a little bit of Granny Apple Green. I blended using the blending brush, and then on here I didn't. So either way, oh, I forgot, I also added on here, as you can see, these are the in-stone in-color jewels. And they come in all the in colors for this year. So soft succulents, fresh freesia, evening evergreen, pale papaya. And this is, oh, what color? Polished pink. So with the gems, without the gems, you decide. And I also did another card using the Flowering Tulips stamp set. And this is what it is. So I used Pool Party, and this is Mango Melody and Daffodil Delight, and then this is Coastal Cabana. And then I used a stencil. I did a cloud stencil here just with the blending brush, and the way I did that was I used the basic borders dies. One of them is a cloud, cut it out on just plain cardstock, and then use that as my stencil to create the clouds in the back. And of course the splatter stamp here is from the Forever Fern stamp set. So here are the 3 cards that I created. Again, this is the Flowering Tulips stamp set. And tomorrow, or the next video, I will show you how to use the actual dies to create a 3D flower like this. So I will share that with you in part 2 of this video. This is part 1, and all I'm showing you here was the 2-step stamping. Again, here are your cards. I hope you enjoyed this video and you do try out this technique with the Stamparatus. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. The subscribe button is in the bottom right hand side. This is Eleanor McGarry, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator yet, I sure would love to help you out and teach you how to create all kinds of cool cards like this. So all my information is on the description link below. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.